What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video, and welcome to your daily news report for Tuesday, August 23rd. So we have a bunch of stuff that we need to cover today because there's more and more reports coming out about the Inflation Reduction Act and what this $80 billion is going to do for the IRS. And I want to touch on this because I know millions of Americans, I know a bunch of people here in the community have been asking, what is going to happen? Are we going to see that the lower income and the middle class are going to be audited even more? The chances are, yes, they're going to be audited, but I want to explain what's going on because it might not happen immediately. It might take 2 to 3 years before we actually get there. So I want to touch on that in just a minute. I also want to address the misinformation that the IRS is going to hire 87,000 agents to all carry weapons and go door to door in order to take from the American people. This is something that there's been some videos, there's also been some articles, some rumors, and I want to touch on this because that's not 100% true. Now, are certain IRS agents allowed and authorized to carry weapons? Yes, but the number is not as high as you may think. So I want to touch on that. Also, we're going to dive into the talks of the student loan payment pause and the potential extension of it. Also, there's the option that the Biden administration could come out and say, hey, we're going to cancel student debt. So that's on the table as well. And we have 8 days to get an answer. We're also going to talk about how some lawmakers want to see more be given to the American people. How $10,000 is just not enough. One lawmaker says, no, we need to go to $50,000. Another says we need to just wipe it away for everybody. Doesn't matter income limits, doesn't matter how much debt, let's just get rid of it all. Okay? So we will touch on that. And the last thing I want to touch on is why this student debt cancellation is such a big deal and such a hot topic. Not only is it going to provide relief to those with student debt, but here's the other thing. The Biden administration made mainly 3 promises. 1, nobody making less than $400,000 per year would see a penny more in taxes. He's so far pretty much done that. Okay, yes, we're paying a little bit more due to inflation, but as far as taxes, nobody making less than $400,000 per year has paid anything more in taxes. So he's kind of stuck by that. As far as canceling student debt, that's something that he's on the verge of doing in about a week. So yes, we could see that. But the third one, what has he done for people on Social Security? He promised a $200 monthly increase to Social Security benefits. However, that hasn't happened. So I want to touch on that and what's going on there because, again, he promised these things and some lawmakers are saying, you made a promise, you need to stick by it. So we will address that in just a minute. Now, all I ask is if you enjoy these daily uploads, do me a favor, go ahead, hit that like button, also consider subscribing, but let's get right down to it. Here's what we know. The IRS is going to get $80 billion from the Inflation Reduction Act. Now, the IRS needs additional money. Democrats say they need, pretty much $100 and some billion. Well, they got 80. Now, Republicans say, yes, the IRS needs more money, but it's not just to hire more employees. What they need more money to do is update their system, right? Fix some of their buildings that are completely falling apart. However, some worry that the $80 billion is going to only go to help increase their tax agents so that more people get audited. Now, I want to be very clear on something. Hiring 87,000 agents is not going to happen overnight. It's seriously not. It's going to take some time. Not only that, it is expected that the IRS is also going to lose some employees over the next 5 years due to retirement. You want to know that number? Well, 50,000 employees. That is what is expected. The IRS, they've been losing, I think since 2010 to 2020, they've lost about, I think it's like 14,000 employees. And the number just keeps on growing, but they're not getting more employees back in. Well, this is what this $80 billion is expected to do, is bring more employees back in, help with recruitment, hiring, things like that. Well, what I can tell you is that as far as the IRS going after more people and trying to increase their revenue by auditing the wealthy, here's what I can tell you. The reports are indicating that the IRS won't have more employees to go after the wealthier individuals until potentially 2026 or 2027. Why is this? And what does this mean to the lower income and the middle income households that are worried that they're going to get audited right now? Well, here's what we know. According to experts, there will not be an increase in audits to wealthier individuals for multiple years. And they say this is the reason because what they know is that when they hire, let's say, an additional 10,000 auditors, right? Tax professionals. What's going to happen is they have to get their feet wet. They have to learn the ropes. So who are they going to audit? They're not going to start with the middle class. They're not going to start with the wealthier individuals. They're going to start with lower income earners. They're going to figure out, how to do this. They're going to get some, audits under their belt. Then they will go to the middle class. They will start to audit them. And eventually, after years and years of multiple audits, then they're going to go after the wealthier individuals, the higher income earners. Well, that's exactly who they said they're going to go after. The problem is they have to work their way up. So yes, it does mean lower income households and middle income households will be audited before the wealthy. All right? So just keep that in mind. Now, here's what I want to address. I want to address the reports that the IRS is going to go and get 87,000 agents and give every single one of them a weapon. The truth is that the IRS criminal investigators are actually authorized to carry a weapon. But there's only about 2,100 criminal investigators in the IRS. So there's only 2,100 special agents who are authorized to carry a weapon. Everyone else is not authorized to carry a weapon of any kind. So keep that in mind as you start to see some videos and reports that the IRS is teaching agents how to do takedowns and how to fight and how to use weapons and bust down doors. Again, it's only certain individuals in the IRS that are even authorized to do any of this. Okay? So, and this is from the criminal investigators. It's not just your typical IRS tax professional. All right? So just keep that in mind. The next thing I want to touch on is the student debt relief, right? Student loan payments. Because we have 8 days. In just 8 days, millions of Americans will either be required to start making their student loan payments again, or we're going to see the Biden administration come out and do what he promised, and he will forgive up to $10,000 in student debt. Now, what we know right now is that President Biden, if he has to, he will settle for an extension to the student loan payment pause. Or he will potentially come out and forgive up to $10,000 in student debt. The other option is he can do a mix of both. And I say this because right now, borrowers who make less than $125,000 per year will be eligible for up to $10,000 in student debt forgiveness. That's at least according to reports from Fox, Bloomberg, and CNN. Those are the numbers. However, here's what other lawmakers want. Senator Bernie Sanders, he wants to see this amount increase so that all student debt is forgiven no matter what the income levels are and no matter how much debt they currently hold. Senator Elizabeth Warren wants to see up to $50,000 in debt relief, and many others just want to ensure that lower income and middle income households are getting the relief, not the wealthy. But here's what we know. Right now, there could potentially be a chance for a mix. That President Biden comes out and says, yes, we're going to give up to $10,000 in student debt forgiveness for anybody that makes less than $125,000 per year, or a couple that makes less than $250,000. However, there will be some families, some student debt holders that do not qualify for up to $10,000 in student debt forgiveness. So they could also extend the student loan payment pause potentially past the end of this year. If they do that, it's going to be a big win for Democrats. But the issue there is some say, and mostly Republicans say, this is going to be very difficult to do because it's still going to provide more relief to the wealthier households, because the wealthier households are usually the ones that went to college. So we'll see what happens there. Here's the other problem, and it's a big problem. If President Biden cancels $10,000 in student debt, then it brings up the question about Social Security benefits and the $200 monthly boost that he promised them. If the student loan cancellation goes through, President Biden would have kept two of his promises. One, he would have kept the promise that nobody making less than $400,000 per year would see a penny more in taxes. Okay, great. The second one is, yes, he would have canceled student debt. But the third one, and a major issue, is Social Security. Because what I can tell you, especially just from talking about Social Security here on this channel, is a lot of people are worried that the Biden administration said they're going to help out Social Security recipients. They did it before the election. Was it just to try to win their vote? And now if the Biden administration comes out just months before the midterm elections and tries to talk up Social Security again, is this just another way to try to win their votes? And that's a problem. That's a major problem. And the reason why I bring this up is because this is what some lawmakers are discussing. That why are we only talking about certain people, relief to certain groups, but then the group that's been hit the hardest, or one of the groups that's been hit the hardest, are those on Social Security. And it's because Social Security, yes, it got a cost of living adjustment of 5.9% for 2022, but the problem is inflation has been much higher. So they're not seeing the relief that many people said they would. So that's what we know at this time. As always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on and share all latest news and updates. Again, just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.